Welcome to another sparkling edition of Plank of the Week. They come around very quickly, almost once a week, some would say. I'm here in the company, I'm delighted to say, of Dawn Neesom, who has returned, I think, from a holiday since the last time I saw you, haven't you?
Yes.
And Russell Quirk, I don't know if you've been away on holiday, but
No
you're looking fine.
No chance.
Looking as though you're ready for action. So, Dawn, I think we've had quite a week this week. I took a couple of days off.
Happy birthday to you.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was my birthday, and that's fine. You know, people talk to me about birthdays like as if I'm about 10. You know, oh, you brought me some cake.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank
Happy
you.
birthday to you.
Oh, that's very nice.
But we
Very
weren't allowed
kind.
candles because of the fire hazard, health and safety.
But also, you can't buy that many candles. They're electric.
There wasn't a big enough
There would have been a fire hazard.
There's a law against that. Can't get more than 40. Anyway, so
that's
thank
some
you
nice
very
stuff
much.
out
That's
the way.
very kind of you. Is that the best you could do, by the way? Is that?
There might be a bottle of champagne for
Oh,
after.
nice. Very nice. I
They
look
were
forward to
literally bought
that.
from the shop next door on the way in, weren't they?
Don't say anything. Anyway, don't ruin the surprise. Why don't we let Dawn kick us off, as she is the lady in the group. And I tell you what, I've struggled this week because there have been so many.
Yeah.
I've had to have a sort of a whinnying down process.
Me too.
It's called.
Right,
Who's your first one?
I am actually going to, and this is going to really upset a few people, I reckon, which is
Let's hope
possibly
so.
why I'm doing it.
Excellent.
I'm going to nominate Geronimo the alpaca.
What, you mean everybody's favourite alpaca?
I mean, it's like the nation's divide. I've been reading
You've
like the
just done this
nation's
to upset
divided.
Kevin, haven't you?
Huh?
Kevin O'Sullivan's been banging the drum for the alpaca.
I
saying
don't
it-
listen to Kevin.
Don't you?
No,
What,
To
ever,
save the alpaca,
ever.
is he?
Yeah, because he's mad for
Oh,
animal
he
rights.
likes, he's an animal
He loves
botherer.
animals.
I
He loves
know,
animals.
yeah.
Hates people, but
We
loves
don't
animals.
want to have that alpaca kill thousands more, isn't that the point?
But this is look. Any case, this is the alpaca that lives down in Gloucestershire, and it has tested positive twice for TB.
Yeah.
And the
What about
government
COVID? Has he got that?
probably. Well, the tests are about as reliable if you believe all
Send
the
off the
stories
PCR
about it. I know.
test. It's sitting on top of a big
Well,
pile
it is-
outside a pharmacy.
Yeah.
That's the alpaca over there.
It is similar to a PCR test, evidently. Anyways, this bloody animal was divided the nation because it's supposedly tested for TB twice. The government now say to stop bovine tuberculosis. It has brought down.
It's not a bovine creature, though, is it?
It's the same thing. It can still spread it.
has
Yeah,
it got
can still
cloven
spread
hoofs?
it. I don't bloody know.
Because they call-
It's a jumper on legs. What do I care?
Okay, all right.
I don't
What sort of
care
feet
about
has
the
it got?
alpaca.
All right.
It's a plank.
Yeah.
Any case.
It's a bit harsh to call the alpaca the plank,
It's on
isn't it?
death row.
Isn't it the owner of the
It's
It
not
has-
actually its fault that it's got
No.
TB.
Yeah.
It
That's
might
victim
not
blaming.
even have
You're
TB.
victim blaming now.
I know.
That's not
Any
allowed.
case, look, they've got lots of people up in arms. It's got alpaca angels now.
Is that a spread in the paper?
Guarding its pen. Well, this is what I mean. What?
You can tell it's August and silly season.
Yeah,
You can't-
exactly. Save Geronimo, save the alpaca. A nation divided. No, I've got more important things to worry about. Any case,
Right.
what really annoys me about this story, it's a front page everywhere, it's all over the place, and it never ceases to amaze me about the UK that we care more about animals than we do kids.
Yes.
I mean, this alpaca, right, has got more people talking about it, more front pages, more column inches than the poor girls that were abused and raped in blooming Rotherham.
Yes.
We're up in arms. 100,000 people have signed a petition. We're marching on Downing Street.
I know.
Meanwhile, an 11-year-old girl in Rotherham was being raped and abused and had a baby,
Yeah.
and no one did anything. No
No.
one cared.
No.
Oh, they're just working class girls from a care home. No one cares. But meanwhile, here's an alpaca we
Yeah.
need
Where
to
does the
save.
alpaca live?
Gloucestershire. It's the home
Gloucestershire.
But
counties.
it's a ticking time bomb of tuberculosis,
Yes,
isn't it?
well
so
said.
this will spread, and just about.
Well, do you know badgers are supposed to spread tuberculosis,
Yeah.
and they had a badger cold, didn't they?
yes.
To stop
But
it from
mad
happening.
cow disease, we didn't
Yeah.
stop to say, well, that one's called Daisy and that one's called something else, so let's protect them. So when's it dying?
Well, it was sentenced to death on Thursday. I think we've got a 28-day time
Such
limit
a
on
ridiculous
it.
story.
But this is-
Sentence to death.
This is the language they're using.
Sentence
No, I know.
to death.
No, listen. This is the,
Electric chair?
This is the language. This is the language that they are using. The alpaca is not going to be put to sleep like we do most animals.
Hang it.
It's
You
going
can
to
imagine
be.
George Eustace,
It's
can't
gonna
you?
be
George
murdered.
Eustace putting his little black cap
Oh,
on
God,
as
yeah.
he's sitting there presiding over this
Is it
thing.
Chris Whitty with the big needle?
Yeah, I hereby sentence you, Geronimo,
But
to
it is
death.
going to be, according to the language of everyone who's protecting it and the newspapers who are fighting the corner of this alpaca, it's going to be murdered, it's going to be brutally killed, executed. They actually use the word executed.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Well, it's not. It's going to be executed, is it? It's
That's
going to be
the
put to
language they're
sleep.
using.
Humanely.
I mean, it's going to be put to
Well,
sleep.
how many
by a
animals
vet.
are put down or culled
All
every
the
day?
time.
Loads.
Hundreds of thousands.
This is what
And
I'm
But
saying.
why are these
So-
same people then not worried about the sheep and the pigs and so on?
No, wait till they get a load of what happens to chickens in
Well,
this
they are
country.
worried about them
Well,
because.
I-
Yeah, but we don't get this furore, do we?
No. Why? What
Yeah.
is special about this alpaca?
Is it possible for it to pass it to humans as well? I think it is, isn't it?
Oh, do not go down that road.
Eh?
You'll have Whitty and Valance on the case straight away. We'll all be locked
Can't you
up
just
again.
put a mask on it, and then it won't spread it?
Well, I tell you what.
What about that?
Why don't we just have a socially distanced alpaca? You can just sit in a field on
just
its
get
own.
Sadiq Khan on the case and get a mask for it,
As long as it's
and then
not damp.
everybody's happy.
As long as it's not
right?
damp.
It is sitting in a field on its own, being very grumpy
Well, there you go.
evidently.
Yeah, so on that basis, it could be.
Was
Educated.
it, by the way, can I just raise another issue here? Is Geronimo not rather disrespectful to Native Americans?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I don't
it's,
think
it's
you can
culturally
culturally
offensive
appropriate
as well.
their name as a former chief of one of the big tribes.
It is culturally insensitive, and
If it was a statue, they'd chuck it in a river.
if that was the lefties, they'd kill it just for that alone. They got the wrong name.
It would be in the Bristol Channel.
Yeah.
Right now.
Unbelievable.
because it has a ring of steel around you protecting it, protecting
The Extinction Rebellion crowd.
Yeah, a ring of steel to protect a potential victim of a hideous crime.
Dear me.
Meanwhile, in Rotherham,
I
he's
must
an
admit,
11-year-old.
the woman who's in charge of the Geronimo alpaca seems a little bit short of a couple of jumpers.
Well, she's apparently said that it doesn't have TB, so she's just, I don't know,
so
she's
this
a
all
green
hoax.
grocer
This is
from
what- yeah,
Rotherham,
yeah,
so
yeah.
wherever she's
Yeah.
from, or Gloucestershire. She has no idea, but
She's
apparently
not from
two
Rotherham.
separate-
She doesn't know where Rotherham is.
Two separate scientists and their tests. have
The
said that
tests have- yeah.
It's got it. It's got TB.
Yeah, she's Helen McDonald.
Is it a
the
lateral
lady's
flow
name.
test that's taken or a PCR? 'Cause
It's like the
everyone
PCR.
knows lateral flow's not that accurate.
Do you want to stick a cotton bud up his nostril and find out?
It would probably need 5 or 6 different tests just to make sure, just in case.
Still wait for the result in the post.
The owner is actually a veterinary nurse, and she said, "This
Not
is
a very
her,
good one.
This is her quote. This is her quote.
How did he get pneumonia anyway? Or whatever it is, TB.
What? It's TB.
TB.
She has actually said, "I will take a bullet for Geronimo."
Okay then. Dear God.
So
only in Britain in the summer.
only in
Russell's
Britain.
right. It's the summer silly season.
Silly season.
I know.
You wouldn't
but-
even get that in the paper in September.
But stop caring so much. Concentrate on the kids.
You're
and
going to have people outside the building demonstrating
I
against
know.
you now.
But
Yeah.
the question is, what is actually going to happen to it? Do you think it's going to get a reprieve? Do you think Boris Johnson, given that he's one of the most populist prime ministers we've ever had, as the opportunity?
Well, he U-turned on everything else he's ever
He'll
done.
stand up and say, no, do you know what? I'll have it in Downing Street. We
Well-
out the back in the garden, in the rose garden.
Once you get Carrie on the case.
Yeah.
I see he's been buying arts for Downing Street.
Yeah, that was nice and cheap, wasn't
Yeah,
it? Was that
really
like
nice. 20 grand or something, was it?
I thought it was 90
Could be
grand or
90.
something,
I
100
don't know.
grand
It's
or
our
something
money.
like that.
Yeah, our money, not
It's
his
our
money.
money.
He doesn't
He's got
care.
no money.
He doesn't
But
mind.
no, I think
no
that-
wonder he hasn't got any money. He buys paintings for 90 grand.
But
You know,
that goes
I
on
could give him a couple of tips.
Rather pay the school fees of the 19 kids he's got. Yeah.
that goes on the 20 grand to roll wallpaper. So it's like
It's great, isn't it?
As long as it's our cash.
I love the fact that these people think they can just buy really expensive stuff and make us pay for it.
But this is for the
this
is for the nation. So evidently we
But
can
it's
all
not
traipse
though.
around
No,
there and have a look.
because whenever anybody gets into Downing Street, they redecorate
Yeah,
it.
I know.
So they rip it all out.
Yeah. Well, where's that end up then?
Down Bermondsey Market, probably. That's where my shirts ended up, apparently. The ones that got stolen.
I didn't know you'd had his shirt stolen.
Have you never heard that story?
No.
I'll tell you another time.
Oh,
Somebody
great.
went into the dry cleaners and stole my shirts.
Why would
I'm
they
not
steal
joking.
your shirts?
Well,
Was it a fan? So like that guy on Alan Partridge that had Alan Partridge's face on his chest.
I've no idea. But I did
Bring
get
me
asked.
closer to
But I did
you
get asked
with
into
your
the police station to make a victim statement.
Really?
No.
Yeah. To
I
make
did.
sure you're
Were
okay.
you traumatised? Did
Yeah.
you have counselling?
That guy was like, "How are you feeling?" I said, "I'm fine, actually.
But shirtless.
I
I'm cold.
could do with some shirts, but otherwise fine." You know. Anyway, well, that's a brilliant start, I have to say.
Thank
Russell,
you. It
is.
Can you match that
Well,
with your first plank
I
of
don't
the
think I
week?
can match it, but I can kind of perpetuate some annoyance, I think. So my first nomination is Lionel Messi.
Ah, yes.
Now, Lionel Messi went on telly.
Some
this
people say
week.
it's Lionel Messi. I don't care,
Lionel,
really.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
so
you know.
this is the guy that's been with Barcelona Football Club for about, I don't know, 20 years.
Man
whatever
and
it is.
boy.
Since God was a boy, actually.
And it's it's fueled the coffers of the Messi household.
Yes,
Lionel
he's done
Messi
all right.
is now worth something like £600 million apparently.
Right.
On the basis that I think he earns £40 million a year, 60 million euros a year.
Well, wasn't there that story a few years ago that he had the imaging rights
Yes.
To
row
himself
Yeah.
or something.
for himself?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the imaging rights alone
Yeah.
were making him something like 5 to 10 million a year.
So there's a good reason though why I think he's a plank, and that is because given what I've just said in terms of how much money he's worth and how much money he earns, the reason he's leaving his beloved club Barcelona is because there are new rules now in Spain that cap certain football clubs if they end up in a situation financially that Barcelona have.
Right.
So he's got to leave
Oh,
on the basis
this
of
is
his
them
contract.
trying to make it more equal, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And this is why
Yeah.
they tried to start the Super League, isn't it?
Yeah. So he's leaving to go to Paris Saint-Germain.
Yes.
On the basis that they will
Funny
match his old salary. So,
Right.
but here's the thing: you may have seen this this on telly. Lionel Messi with one of these the other day, and as he's actually on
yeah, because
telly,
he was weeping.
he's actually on telly like this. I don't want to leave.
Crocodile tears.
I just don't want to leave.
Right.
Well, do you know what? Don't leave.
If you don't want to leave,
you're worth
just stay.
600 million quid.
Yeah.
You don't need to leave on the basis that you need to be paid the same amount of money.
Right.
Take a pay cut and stay.
Well, because also the pay
Take a pay cut.
the pay cut would technically, presumably, make him only accept something like 300,000 a week,
which would be awful.
as opposed to half a million.
And I know you wouldn't be able to get by on that. I know you wouldn't be able to get by on that. But that's why he's a plank.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that's fair enough, because there's nothing worse than hypocrisy, is there?
Yeah.
Also, to be honest, he's past his best anyway, Messi. I mean, you look at Ronaldo and Messi, used to have that competition every single year.
Who's the best?
But actually, Ronaldo's now far and away outstripped him, has run away with it.
Yeah.
And I can't see Messi ever, because now he basically doesn't run. I mean, I know that people would say, well, look who's calling him somebody who doesn't run. I don't run
But
either.
you're not trying to justify 40 million quid a year on the football pitch.
Also, I don't play for Barcelona.
That's why they don't pay him that
Don't
much.
play for Barcelona. Also, I'm paid to sit, actually, as well.
Yes.
That's what I'm paid to do.
Sit,
That's
you
what I'm
said.
good at.
Sit, yes,
Sit,
yeah.
yes, exactly right. And, last few times I've seen him play, I mean, he's very good at not moving. He knows exactly where to be, and the ball comes to him. But he doesn't actually run. He doesn't go anywhere. He just sort
He's
of
a
hangs
good
about.
tactical player, to be
He's brilliant.
fair.
No,
To be fair,
but he's been
says a god.
but he's not what he was, is he?
No.
But look, leaving is one thing. He doesn't have to. But the fact he made such a show of it on the telly,
Yeah, the sobbing
burst into
and the
fake
hypocrisy.
tears with the hanky and everything.
Yeah.
It's beyond the pale.
But Barcelona are a bit like that, aren't they? They're always making out that they're this kind of special family.
Yeah.
But they're actually just like every other football team.
Yeah.
You
Of
know,
course they
when
are.
you play for Barcelona, you never leave. It's one of those kind of,
Unless someone offers you more money.
like Pep Guardiola
I
disappears
know.
off to Man City.
I mean, I was rather hoping he'd come to West Ham.
He's going to
but
end up at Man-
we
you
could
know-
have-
we could have got to Man City, the amount of money they're
Well,
throwing.
you know he's going to end up at Man City, aren't you? Because same company anyway.
Yes, it is. Yeah, well, that's
Well, when
what
I say
the whole
company, I mean
Super League
country.
was about, wasn't it?
You know, the
football.
UAE.
It's not football. It's all money grabbing.
Or Abu Dhabi,
balls.
rather. Yes. Well, I'm going to go with my first offering. I can't decide whether it's the Home Office or Border Force. I think it's Border Force more than the Home Office. But it's basically a kind of trilogy of things that have gone wrong this weekend. The first was that they discovered that all these immigrants that are putting up, the illegal migrants being put up in a hotel, apparently they've lost some of them.
I read this story. It's a great story.
Apparently
isn't
they've
it?
absconded because the hotel maybe wasn't to their liking, or they had a better offer, or perhaps they've gone off to join some kind of black market crime organisation. So
No.
they're currently robbing everybody blind.
That doesn't happen.
Well, I mean, it could be the case that that's true. I mean, they might have just decided to go and do some charity work because, of course, some people say they're very nice people and you shouldn't tar them all with the same brush. Maybe so. All we know is they've disappeared. We don't know where they are. They're not quarantining either. So when they come here from France, which we were all supposed to quarantine from until, I think, Sunday, none of them are being
they're
supervised.
contagious,
Right? Nobody knows if they've got COVID. Nobody knows where they are.
quite.
Nobody knoes what they're doing.
Has anyone checked out Gary Lineker's gaff?
Well, they might be
I
there.
mean,
They
you
could be
never know.
there.
That's a good
You
point.
never
Yeah, that's a
know.
good idea, actually.
Yeah.
We'll maybe check
But
that out
What
first.
really annoyed me about this one is the fact that they're not quarantined.
Yeah.
They're staying in quite nice hotels,
Yes.
free to come and go as they are. But if you dare to come back from a red list country, you are locked up in an appalling
In the world's
hotel.
worst hotel.
Yeah, absolutely.
With terrible food.
Yeah, for £2,000.
Yeah.
But not forgetting, there's now a standard. Don't forget. The judiciary have decided that the barracks, if you remember, from some months ago,
Load of
that
old
were
barracks.
actually good enough for our armed forces,
Yeah, yeah.
Not good
are
enough
not
for-
good enough
No.
for illegal
No, they
immigrants
set
and
fire to
asylum
them.
seekers.
Why do we treat ordinary families in this country in the way we do?
I know.
And yet we
Well,
you know,
I mean, you
we
can make
bend
the same
over
argument
backwards.
about one of the causes I'm going to try and raise a bit this week, which I haven't done yet, is the Gurkhas.
Yeah,
the Gurkhas
absolutely.
are going on hunger strike because they're not getting treated in the way that they should be
Yeah.
treated. You've got the Afghanistan
the
interpreters
The
who are
translators,
literally
yeah,
in danger of being,
absolutely.
in danger of being killed
They're
by
gonna
the
be killed.
Taliban.
Of course they will.
And we're doing nothing.
Yeah, of course we
You know
will.
what I mean? Well,
Yeah.
these characters come over, they check into a hotel, they check out.
Yeah.
Who knows where they are?
That's just
Right.
I
On
just-
top of that is the second thing. The second thing is that was revealed today by the Home Office and Priti Patel that the cost of putting up all these people in these hotels is, to the taxpayer, 70 million quid for this year alone so far.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to end up being like 100 million. But the worst thing of all, and this is the one that really got me, is the fact that Border Force, right, when they confiscate the dinghies that they come on, people have always said to me, where do the dinghies go? Do they send them back?
No, they're
Right?
stored.
Do you know what they do?
Why?
They store them because apparently Customs and Excise have got an old-fashioned rule where if they confiscate something, say you came through duty-free and you didn't declare your bottle of vodka, they confiscate it, right? But then they keep it for 6 months because they have to by law, just in case you want it back or in case they want to prosecute you, right? So the same applies apparently to these boats. So there's dozens of these boats being stored in a bonded warehouse at a cost
How much is that costing?
£500,000 quid. £500,000.
Just to store them.
Just to store them. Now, as I said earlier on my show, Why don't you just put a bullet in them? I know
yeah.
it's I'm a bit sort of
Get the
obsessed with shooting
get
things.
the alpaca down there, do two
the
jobs with
alpaca.
one bullet.
Yeah.
2 for 1.
Yeah, put the alpaca in a dinghy. Bob's your uncle. But no. But but get this right. So they say, but they're keeping them in case the owners want to claim them back.
But the owners being the gangs.
Yes,
The human
traffickers.
criminals.
The
Yeah.
human traffickers,
Yeah.
yeah. But the other thing they might do, right, is sell them. Now, who do you think's in the market for buying a second-hand dinghy?
The gangs will buy
The gangs will buy them all back. And they said, no, don't worry.
We might as well put them in a container and
they
take
went
them to France,
No,
can't
we'll
we?
put the price up so high that nobody will be able to afford to buy them from the gangs. I mean, the gangs are the ones with all the money.
Yeah.
What?
They're the ones that are making about 4 million, 5 million a week.
Yeah.
Right? But they're going to sell them to somebody else. Who's going to? I mean, I don't want to buy a dinghy. Do you? I mean, especially if it's rocketed up in price.
I definitely don't want 15,000 off it.
Look, we've got a job lot of a couple of hundred dinghies. How much can you give me for it?
Maybe one day we'll see them in Costco all
just
piled
think,
up in the corner.
What is wrong with them?
But they'll be down at the market with your shirts.
Yeah, they will. We'll be down at-
Actually, they can use your shirts as a sales. Sorry,
Very
that was
good,
bad.
thank you.
Sorry.
And the
Yeah.
alpaca burgers.
Nice. See, this is the kind of thing I have to put up with.
Dinghies, shirts.
But I mean, seriously, it's like the country's being run by a circus troupe. Coco the Clown.
But it is.
I mean, really?
But it is being
Can you
run by a
imagine being in that
circus troupe.
meeting? Can you imagine a meeting where you go, what are you going to do with the dinghies? Oh, we'll put them in a warehouse. Oh, okay. Why? Well, in case they want them back. Right.
Oh, God.
I mean,
Someone
just stick
with
a
half
knife
a
in them.
brain, recycle them into something like kids' play areas, or do something. Is that just too ridiculously clever?
That is a bit
That
ridiculous.
was a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to be running the
Recycle
country
them
or
into
something, Russell? I mean,
useful.
Maybe you could
No, I
build
don't.
them into, those changing huts they have on the beach, but they'd be made of rubber.
What, for all the asylum seekers
Yeah.
to change?
Yeah,
when
they can change.
Get off the dinghy.
Yeah.
So they
What
put their
changing
stuff
huts?
on. And then they can do a runner in a change of clothes and then it'll never
Exactly.
be found.
Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, great idea.
changing huts.
Have you never seen changing? You know, the beach
Yeah,
huts.
back in the Victorian
They're
days,
worth a
there were
fortune.
beach huts.
No, you're
but they-
joking.
They were
They're worth a
changing rooms.
fortune.
They're beach huts.
No,
They're
but
worth up to
they're
£300,000
You can-
each.
Yeah, I know, but people don't change in them. People sit there and drink
How do you
champagne
know?
and have a
And have
party in them.
hand
My
You've
sis-
changed.
My
No,
sister's
people
got
sit
one.
in them and people say to them, "You've changed."
My sister.
So people do change in beach
That's
huts.
a nice shirt. Where did you get that from?
they do. I've always not wanted to hit a beach hut because you
You're
see.
a bit poncy, and I bet you've got
Well,
one, haven't you?
I'm not sure you can say that,
No.
but they cost an awful lot of money
Yeah.
in places like Dorset. If you go to Bournemouth
Oh,
and try and
yeah?
buy one,
Yeah.
there's thousands, hundreds of
thousands.
thousands
Who's
of
got one
pounds.
here? Who's got one here? Oh, James Max has got a beach
That's
hut.
right. He's got one in Frimley
Yeah.
on Sea.
Frinton.
It's Frinton.
Yeah.
And that's like in Battenberg cake colours.
They like
Yep.
the blue and white stripes, don't
Yeah. But
Yeah.
if you had a beach hut, what colour would yours be?
they? Black.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
We're moving in
a
together.
skull
We're
and
so
crossbones.
moving in together.
Avasti.
Yeah.
It'd be like a pirate hut.
Yeah, mine would be bright orange so all the asylum seekers can see it. And go straight to it.
Well, there you go. If you get an orange dinghy, you'll be fine. Yeah. Anyway,
Matchy
right.
matchy.
Right. Now, I'm afraid we're taking quite a long time to do this, but this is
Sorry.
good.
Oh my
Not a
God,
problem.
you have to
It's
gassing on.
Time for your second
Right,
nomination.
okay, my second nomination is going to get a bit serious after an alpaca, sorry, but I'm going to nominate the UN.
I mean, killing an alpaca is pretty serious, to be fair. You've made a
It's
joke
got
of
to
it.
be.
She's actually volunteering to do it.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
got to be. Right, we're talking climate change. Don't switch off. This is interesting,
Yeah.
honestly. We're talking climate
not
change.
true, though, it's just-
and
yeah.
the honestly.
Well, a load of old cobblers.
After the 18 months we've had of being terrorised by this government over COVID,
Yeah.
now that's wearing off a bit.
They've all
Let's-
shifted into climate
Let's
change, haven't they?
terrorise them
Yeah.
with something else. So it's a red alert. It's
Right.
apocalypse now,
It's
isn't
a
it?
code red.
It's
now,
code red.
the only
Code
time I've
red.
heard that is in A Few Good Men.
Yeah.
You know,
Code
did you
red.
order a code red? You know, that's all I
red.
can think of when I hear them
Yes.
saying
Jack
it.
Nicholson.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jack
we're all gonna-
Nicholson.
we're all gonna
You're
burn-
goddamn right I did.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah.
That one.
If we don't act now, it's going to catastrophic climate change. You're all going to burn.
Yeah, but if
Yeah.
we
In
if
hell.
we do act now, apparently it'll be fine.
No,
So
I heard it was too late. So they
no,
say
they're
that
saying we can fix it. So
by turning everything off.
can't be that much of an emergency, can
By
it?
turning everything off. Yeah.
Except-
Literally everything.
But this is Boris Johnson. The latest catchphrase that he's got to go with this is coal, cash, cars, trees.
What? That's one extra word. Normally it's only
Coal,
3 words.
Coal, cash, cars, trees. It's not even alliteration,
Yeah, that's
is
because
it?
Cummings has gone. Cummings was
Yeah.
the master of
He was
English.
the 3 words, wasn't it?
At least Cummings would have at least 4 C's in there. I can think of another
Why
C.
is
if they
coal?
want.
Yeah, I could think of one.
another
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Why would you put coal in there?
Well, because we're meant to stop digging it up.
Well, I thought we had stopped digging it up. We don't
Evidently
dig it up
not.
anymore. We haven't got any
We
coal.
have, but we let the Chinese
haven't-
do it.
Yeah, but
And
they
we bring it over here in big boats from China.
do we?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Have you actually got coal coming into the country?
Yeah.
Why?
On dinghies.
On dinghies. No, that would be useful. An asylum seeker
With
with a
an
coal sack under their arm.
Yeah, something not right
the
here.
UN
But do you know what, though? My favourite thing about this, right? It's 4,000 pages long, this
I know.
particular treatise.
How many trees did that destroy?
And they keep saying, we've been warning about this for decades. Yeah, and every warning's been wrong. In 1989, they said that we'd all be underwater by the year 2020, I think it was. And apparently we're not underwater. I mean, it might feel like it, but we're not.
I did last week, it has to be said.
That's true. But I mean, it actually says, and this is their words, not my words, it actually says the likelihood of us warming the planet to 1.5 degrees more than it is now has an elasticity period of between now and never.
Never.
Yeah.
So it might never happen.
No.
Well, and actually, when you look back historically, the globe has
Well, you can only look
warmed
back
up.
historically, really, can't you?
Yes, true. But when you look
Can't look
back,
forward
when you look
historically.
back, we've only increased temperature on this planet by 1% since the Industrial Revolution
Doesn't
of
feel very hot at
1840.
the moment.
No, it's
I want to get a bit
freezing.
hotter. I love a hot summer, didn't I? I mean, look at the state of the place now.
I know.
It's pouring with rain all the time.
Yeah, I know.
So a bit more climate change, we go amiss.
Yeah, but they'll tell you, of
That's
course,
weather.
that that's the
weather.
the climate that's causing
And
that.
did you see what Greta Thunberg's response was?
Oh,
I didn't know.
yes.
She told us all that her
How dare
response
you?
is not to buy clothes. Now, I know she's not exactly.
Well, I wouldn't buy any clothes that she wears.
She's not
Why
exactly
is she
a threat
dressing like
to
a
the
10-year-old girl?
She's not a
still?
threat to the UK fashion industry. Let's
She
be
really
honest.
isn't.
But she hasn't bought clothes for 3 years. She apparently borrows them and buys second hand. Maybe
Because-
she's got some of your shirts.
Because the fashion industry. But because the fashion industry is ruining the planet. But you know
for
what?
God's
The
sake.
hypocrisy of that was she gave this interview where she was talking about the fashion industry destroying the planet and not buying clothes to Vogue magazine.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's quite expensive
she
paper
think
that
The
they use.
She thinks
Bible
I get
of the
paper.
high fashion
Yeah.
industry.
But she thinks that all these models and fashion designers reading it will automatically put the magazine down and go, oh, all right, then. We
That's
won't
it.
do this
No,
anymore.
no, no,
That's
no,
it.
no, that's fine.
The other
done
one
now.
I
Let's-
read today is that they want you to share power tools. Now, I don't own any power tools anyway, so
I know.
she would know. She's filthy. It's
a very small drill bit.
I don't need a drill bit. That's the point. But I don't. But they say that
the point,
because
that's
you
the
don't
point.
use them very much, you should only have them to share with other people. Can you imagine going around next door? Going, have you got the drill? No, I'm using it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then I'll come
But what
back
happened
tomorrow.
the last time I lent a drill to my sister about 2 years ago? Never seen it since.
Really?
So that's what happens. You don't get it back.
No.
It's not
No,
a piece
no,
of
no,
elastic.
But then also,
yeah.
That's it.
we're not supposed
Sorry,
to share
sorry, Joe,
stuff.
but-
You don't share things. That's
Well, I didn't think we were allowed to touch each other in COVID. So I mean, sharing
You just touched
a
me.
drill is obviously.
It sounds like a euphemism for something, doesn't it? Doesn't sound good.
In my case, it always
Yeah.
is. But in any case, the UN, all right, okay, you are all planks because let's face it,
How
they
about
are
spirit level?
not fit for.
You're one of them. I want to
What
make
about
sure.
that-
make sure everything's on the right.
What about
On the
that
le- on
tape
the level,
measure?
on the level,
The tape measure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so men actually finally understand what inches are. Any case, so the UN, right?
think they care.
The previous. Well, you should.
We're in centimetres now, by the way.
Yeah, I know you are. Love millimetres. Any case, the UN not fit for purpose anymore. A bunch of plaques, not just over climate change, but for the mess ups they've done over the years. Now, I heard you talking about this on
Yes.
the radio this morning.
Well, they're a
and-
massive organisation, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And they ruin the world.
Now,
Seriously.
like you, I was unlucky enough to be reporting from Bosnia during
Yes.
the massacre, and the UN were meant to be looking
Yeah.
after that. Yeah, I remember standing on the edge of a mass grave
Yes.
of Muslims that had been murdered.
Yeah, and which the
on
UN
UN's watch.
peacekeepers didn't do anything about.
Yeah, quite. And likewise, I was in Rwanda covering the civil war at the end of the civil war over there, talking to little kids who've watched their entire families been butchered, also on the
Yeah.
UN's watch.
Well, I was
So-
sent a picture today by somebody who's been to Ethiopia, and the UN building in Addis Ababa
Yeah.
looks like the Pentagon.
Yeah.
That's how big it is.
Yeah.
And everyone that works there works tax-free.
Yeah.
They get their kids put in private schools.
Yeah.
They're all on big salaries. They drive around in UN
I wonder what the
cars.
whole thing costs.
Well, I mean,
Millions.
it's billions.
Billions?
No, it's
Billions.
billions. Do you remember there was a round once because I
Billions.
think it was either George Bush or George Bush Senior who said, "We're just not paying you any more money."
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
And also, they sit in New York City, right, as diplomats. So they've all got diplomatic immunity, no matter what they do.
Yeah, massive
there was a guy
teams.
when I lived there. There was a guy who was charged with rape. He got let off because he worked for the UN.
Yes, yeah.
They don't pay their parking
No,
fines. They don't pay
there's also
speeding fines.
the
nothing.
futility of the stuff they debate because they give everybody a veto.
Hmm.
When the Security Council sit and they all try to agree something,
Hmm.
only one nation
China
with a
vetoes
veto,
everything.
Yeah, well, or Russia. Yeah, they just veto everything.
Yeah.
So it makes the whole process pointless.
Yeah.
Well, when the UN were in charge of looking after things in Cambodia, Mozambique, Bosnia and Kosovo, there was an increase in prostitution. Marvellous.
Well, there always is.
Well done.
Well, they were running it. The Ukrainian
Yeah, I know they
soldiers
were.
in
Yeah, I know.
Sarajevo
I
were
know.
running
Running
it,
it,
for
I
heaven's
know.
sake.
I know.
Absolutely shocking.
Any case, you
It's a
own a
service
bunch
to
of planks, so do not lecture
So
me
is
on
it the
climate
let me
change.
just, is it the UN or is it the UN panel on climate change?
It's
the whole
all
UN.
the whole UN,
Yeah,
really.
right,
They're
I'm with
all
that.
one,
I'm good with that.
mess,
Sounds
aren't
pretty
they?
hopeless and
I'm
useless,
good with
doesn't
that.
it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
So talk
Thanks.
of climate change.
Go on.
My second one is Alok Sharma.
Oh, yes.
And the reason is that this
Frequent
is the one.
flyer.
This is the one man that should not be talking about climate change at all.
Right.
He should just keep his mouth shut.
Yeah.
He's been on more planes, I think, this year
30,
than Prince,
I think, isn't it?
Prince
30
Harry
trips.
and Emma Thompson put together.
Yeah.
30 trips, 6 of them to red list countries, where he has come back not quarantined at all.
Yes.
Yeah, apparently
doesn't have to, does he?
he made a statement yesterday saying that we only have this critical amount of time left to make sure that we save the planet, and that we've got to stop flying and we've got to
Right.
stop driving and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I'll see you at the airport.
Yeah. But it doesn't, as usual with politicians at the moment,
The
it doesn't
hypocrisy.
apply
The
to me.
absolute hypocrisy of it. I mean, he drives a diesel. Allegra Stratton is the bird
She's got
currently
VW,
lecturer.
hasn't she?
She's
Yeah.
got a diesel.
Yeah.
Sadiq Khan gets driven around in a 5-litre Range Rover.
Yeah.
He's the one constantly lecturers. I mean, the hypocrisy
Yeah.
here. Plus, the whole climate change conference they're having in November in Scotland, I
Yeah,
think, isn't it?
in
In Glasgow.
Glasgow, yeah.
They are all going to fly into that because
Have
they
they
all
never
need
heard
to
of
sit
Zoom,
there.
these
people?
They need to sit there and talk face to
Have
face.
they never heard of Zoom or...
Plus, some of them are flying in from red list countries without any
They're
testing,
waiving all the
any
regulations,
isolation,
yeah.
absolutely no restrictions whatsoever.
And guess what? Nicola Sturgeon, who's manically against anyone from England going to Scotland in case they spread COVID, is quite happy to invite all these bozos in without a word
Yeah,
of anything because she wants to meet them all.
So
Even
Brazil,
though Scotland's one of the COVID hotspots of the world.
Yeah.
yeah, quite. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, Brazil,
Well,
right?
statistically, some of them will die of drug overdose before they leave Glasgow because,
Yeah,
normally that's
quite.
what happens when you go to Glasgow. Sorry.
I mean, Brazil, red list, one of the biggest polluters on the entire planet, going to jet in there,
Yeah.
spread COVID, no problem at all.
Absolutely.
So the likes of Alok
Fantastic.
Sharma, as they're saying this stuff, they may as well just be sticking their fingers
Yeah.
up at the camera at the same time.
Yeah. Well, John Kerry, the guy who once ran for president of the United States of America, is now the Environment Secretary, I think, over there. He flew to Barack Obama's 60th birthday party the weekend in a private jet.
Is this the one when none of them were wearing masks?
Yeah, that one, yeah. Where they're originally going to invite 600 people, even though they're not supposed to have more than 30 or something.
Yeah.
And then they cut it down to about 300 of his closest friends. But they're all flying in private jets.
Yeah.
Well, Barack Obama, doesn't he have some luxury waterfront property?
does.
So
He
he's
does.
obviously
Martha's
not
Vineyard.
that worried about
No.
Yeah, Martha's Vineyard.
Martha's Vineyard.
Climate
Quite an
change
expensive
and
part
sea
of the
The
world.
bar
levels.
staff all taking pictures and they grabbed their phones and made them delete all the pictures and the video images, didn't they?
It's
Still
just
got out.
incredible.
Well, Harry and Meghan there.
Well, I asked that question today. I'm not
Oh,
sure. It
did
sounds like the kind of thing they would have been
Yeah.
at, but the person I asked didn't know the answer to that. But I bet you if she didn't get asked, she's not going to be happy.
She's going to be kicking
I mean,
up
she's
on
going to
that
be
one,
kicking the
isn't she?
cat around the old
Yeah,
Especially
no,
as
no,
a
Harry
Montecito
will be
He's
mansion.
the
sent-
President of the United States.
Harry
Can
will
I
send
smell
out-
smoke, Harry? The biggest brush fire of all time is out the back of Montecito. Better be careful.
Yeah.
House
But,
might burn
she'll
down.
be-
Harry's fault. He probably threw a fag over
Well,
his
she'll
fence.
be so annoyed. She'll send Harry back out to juggle his balls again, won't she?
If you thought that was easy, wait till you have to juggle this stuff. Absolutely extraordinary. Right, it's my turn then, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know. I've lost
Well,
the
I'm going to
plot.
go with a bloke called Jonathan Brearley, who you may never have heard of. He is the director of Ofgem. And Ofgem is the organisation that's supposed to be in charge of making sure that regulation in the power business is done well and done on behalf of the consumers. You may have had a notice in the post from your power supplier, your energy supplier, whether it's electricity or gas, that it's going up in October.
Yes.
It's going up
Yep.
by quite a substantial amount, between minimum 13 and 30%.
Yep.
Now, an awful lot of people are going to be not able to pay that, right? So they're actually going to be handy, and their excuses is, energy prices have gone up. Remember the last time you got a break because energy prices went down?
No.
Do you remember when
Just
oil?
never happened.
Do you remember when oil was so low in the Middle
negative.
East? It was actually, if you bought it,
Yeah.
you owed somebody money immediately.
That wasn't reflected at the pumps.
Because it was worth less
No.
as soon as you bought it. The price didn't go down.
No.
The price of gas didn't go down to heat your house. The price of electricity didn't go down, nothing. But now they're saying it's gone up 50% in the last year. So we have to pass it on to the customer. Now, keeping with the climate change scenario, this bloke, Jonathan Brearley, guess where he used to work? The Department of Energy and Climate Change. Right? He also used to run a consultancy company focused on, and I mean, you know more about the business world than I do. I don't even know what this means, right? He worked on a consultancy company focused on regulatory issues and commercial strategy. This involved work on
Commercial
projects.
strategy, which is
Well-
basically short for money.
Yeah.
Right,
This involved
okay.
working on projects such as the designing of market reforms in India and projects supporting decarbonisation. Huh?
It's not even English.
So he's clearly a climate change nutter, this guy, right? Do you know how much he makes? 330,000 a year. And that wasn't enough for him this year because they decided that Ofgem had done such a brilliant job protecting the consumers that they could all have a share of £1 million bonus pot. So he was also handed 15 grand as a tax-free present at Christmas.
Is this also part of this lunacy, which is that all of our bills, every household in the UK's bills, will go up because of some climate change levy?
Well, this is what I think it is.
£400.
You see, this is what I think it is. I believe this to be a complete sham because every single company's in on it. There's no way you can suddenly go, actually, I don't really want Scottish Power anymore. I want to go over there. They're all in it together. They're all rising by the same amount.
At all.
No, it's nothing to do with that.
How is me paying more taxes, though, really going to save the planet? That's what I don't understand. I just think
Well, it's because, unfortunately, sustainable energy is much more expensive to produce than fossil fuelled energy. So therefore they need more money from us to subsidise, I guess, the nuclear power and the wave stuff.
Well, that's
and the
what they
wind
tell
and the
us.
sun.
But we don't really know, do we?
No, we don't know. And we're being told this by a bunch of muppets who jet around the world on their private jets, ignoring all the restrictions we have to live under. And in Boris Johnson's case, trying to repopulate the world single-handedly.
But it's pure politics and pure, again, to use the words that I used just now, opportunism and populism. They've got not only no idea,
You do like long words,
but
don't
they
you?
don't really care if this makes a difference. It seems to be the right thing to do for the media and for their audience and their voters. So therefore, they're pushing this agenda and trying to force it upon us, no matter what the cost.
This is not going to win votes. This is not going to get Boris Johnson
Well,
or
it won't
Keir
win in
Starmer
Conservative
or
votes.
anyone.
There's not that many
back
kind
into
of real climate change, Extinction Rebellion type geeks within the Conservative Party. I
Yeah.
can tell you that.
No.
So, but he seems to be obsessed with perhaps going out to those parts of the country that a bit like Heineken, that other prime ministers have not previously reached. Shall we say?
It does. It does.
I'm just sick of being lectured by a bunch of hypocrites.
But the trouble is that they keep introducing things which we just have to keep paying for.
Yeah, I know.
And nobody's
Everything costs
asked
me more
anybody
money.
anything. Nobody said actually, and what is the point of Ofgem if it's supposed to be a regulator and yet it just lets the industry do whatever it wants?
Exactly, that's what it's doing, isn't it? It's just for the industry.
Yeah.
It's not for us.
And guess what? I got one extra thing just to add on, just to make it even worse. Guess what? He also got as a perk, which he had to register in the Declaration of Interests. He was given free solar panels on his house, so that he'd
By
be
a
able-
company
Well,
that will benefit, no doubt, from the levy that he is about to introduce to us consumers.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, so it's coincidence. Probably.
So, game, set and match, if you happen to be this bloke, he's having a very nice time. Thank you very much indeed. He probably quite likes working from home as well.
I'm sure he does.
But he's definitely not on the side of the consumer then, is he?
No,
Well,
it's not. It's not
Pretty sure
regulating
he's not
for
the
us,
side of the
is it?
consumer.
No.
And
No.
he probably gets his bills paid as well by Ofgem.
Would it be interesting if the head of Ofgem, if he was paid and kept his job on the basis of what the consumer thought about him every 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
I think they called it voting.
That would be
very
nice.
We
interesting.
used to have something called democracy in this country, didn't we?
while back.
Yeah. It won't catch on.
Pre 2019,
Well,
I think
yeah,
we
it
were
won't
talking
catch
about.
on.
Yes.
I'm going to vote alpaca, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he'd be dead, unfortunately, by the next time the next election comes around.
Yeah.
Who's your number 3?
Actually, there's a theme here, obviously, the climate change theme. Good luck with your solar panels, Mr. Ofgem.
Yeah.
Because bookies are saying that we are going to have the soggiest August ever. Meanwhile, the Met Office, who is the nomination for planking this one, by the way, are saying it's one of the driest summers ever. I'm sorry, I spent the last week building an ark for alpacas.
But just not in the UK.
Have they got a new office that doesn't have any windows in it?
Exactly. I know, just
they're
look
just in
out
another
the-
country.
Very dry.
I think they're in Florida.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, literally everybody is wading through flooded streets and flooded homes, and it has not stopped raining. But
It's wreaking
the Met
havoc with your
Office-
bicycling lot, isn't it? You never see them out on the roads when it's
No,
raining.
have you tried cycling? No, sorry, that was a
What?
really stupid question.
Well,
you know the
have
answer
you
to that
tried
question?
cycling
Well,
in
as
the
you
rain?
know, I quite often have, shall we say, set twos with cyclists on
Yeah.
Twitter, and I say to them, cycling is for people who are children because bicycles are toys. Unless you happen to be,
For centre parks.
unless you're in the Olympics, right, and anywhere in between, there's no point.
Hold on a minute. Cars are toys and all.
No, they're not.
Yes, they
Cars carry people
Yeah.
and things.
But they're toys, because that's why you have big shiny ones.
No, not at all.
Yes, it is.
No.
Yes, it is.
I have a big shiny car because I like having a big
Are
shiny
you
car.
trying to make up for something, Mike?
Not at all, no.
Are you
I
sure?
think maybe the
No.
argument is
There's
that
nothing to make up for,
that
believe me.
cars have superseded bikes because bikes are kind of old school, aren't they?
Well, they really are. And the
Bike's
thing
lovely.
is, have you ever tried to put a Labrador on the back of a bike?
Yeah. Or moving house on one.
Right. Or taking your children to school on a
What
bike?
about getting an alpaca to the
Well,
Now you're talking.
to
That's
the
all right.
execution?
right. What do you call that? The glue factory, they used to call it.
Oh, wow. fortune. But yeah,
New
so
brand of Yoo-hoo, alpaca Oohoo.
but cycling in the
Back
rain
in blue.
is.
Jeez, we shouldn't be saying this. We'll get into terrible trouble.
We are. We're going to have lots of
Great
terribly
animal rights people
we're
outside
gonna,
our houses
We're going to have
tomorrow morning.
terribly polite animal rights activists outside in their sort of like terribly nice Gloucester middle class.
Yeah.
Like
They'll all be in
alpaca.
barbers, won't they?
Yeah, Hunter Wellers and barbers.
Oiled jump.
The 100,000 people. I keep that. In any case, we are talking plank of the week here is the Met Office for saying we're having the driest.
These are the same people.
The driest summer
These
ever.
are the same people, right, who said that they were no longer going to do long distance weather forecasting, and you go, that's literally your job. That's your job, is to
literally
forecast the
your
weather.
job.
Yeah.
So now you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can't even get it right anyway.
No.
I mean, I was told on, I think it was Friday, it was supposed to be raining all day on Friday, and it didn't actually rain all day. It did rain on and off, but it didn't rain all day.
No, but now they can't get the forward forecast right. They can't even get the last 10 days right. Because what they're saying is that the last 10 days has been dry when it hasn't.
Just look out the window.
So they can't even look backwards properly.
No. Well, do you know, the thing I've
How
always
can you
wondered
not
about
look
that.
out the window and just see that it's been raining a bit?
But the thing I've always wondered about is why do the weather people, because that's what they are, isn't it? They're not always weather men. Why do they tell you what the weather's been doing? I mean, you know what the weather's been like. They come on, they go, well, today it was, you go, I know what it was like.
Well, like you're going to say,
I
that's
was out in
handy.
it.
Because if I was going to go out 15 minutes ago, I would have needed to know that then.
Well, you could have told me what it was going to be like yesterday, tomorrow, as opposed to telling me today what it was like yesterday. I don't need to know that.
It's just...
Hey?
It's,
Also, how many weather people have the BBC got? Because every time you look at it, there's another person you've never seen before. Are they like growing them there or something?
Well, on the basis it doesn't really change that much during the day. You'd think they just record it once and just replay it, wouldn't you?
And because the good news...
That would probably save the licence fee payer about 100 million quid a year or something.
Well, do you know that the Met Office is part of the Ministry of Defence, I think now, isn't it?
Oh, my Lord,
I think
is it?
it is, yeah. I think it's part of the Ministry of Defence, bizarrely.
Right.
So, the only reason
Why,
I know...
why would it be part of the Ministry of Defence? Maybe the rain is a plot to keep us all indoors.
Well, because you need to know what the weather's going to be
Don't
like.
go out, you'll die.
In case you're going to invade anyway, you know what the weather's like.
Yeah.
But don't ask them because they don't know.
Only invade on a sunny
Back
day.
to the UN.
Well, to be fair, I think D-Day had to be put off because the weather wasn't right. So, you know, I mean, that was a long time ago, but, you know.
Should we go and invade France?
I think we
That'd be
should.
good.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Reverse,
Well, get all those dinghies.
Reverse dinghy.
Yeah, get all the dinghies. Make use of the dinghies. Get some of the...
Are we going back to buy them then? Down to the warehouse?
We'll just nick them.
Yeah.
Get some of the migrants back in there and
Right.
just send them back to France. Can
Yeah.
we do that? Is that
Apparently not.
No.
It's a good idea, though.
No.
That's what Nigel Farage wants
Yeah,
to do.
it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, he's not the only one.
Yeah.
You know, but there we are. Okay, then.
Met
So,
Office,
number 3
right.
for you.
So my third is Cheheti Bansal. Now,
Yes.
we all know who Cheheti Bansal is, don't
Easy
we?
for you to say.
She is a Californian food blogger who
What's a food blogger?
Food blogger, I know, writes
Somebody
about,
who writes about food.
Right up Mike Street, actually.
Yeah,
A bit of a culinary connoisseur.
bit like a
What was-
waitress.
what was
Yeah.
that?
She writes about
So-
food, doesn't she?
Exactly, yeah.
So
Are
anyway,
you a food blogger?
Do you want to know why? So Cheheti
Sorry.
Bansal, 27 years old, food blogger from California, has just declared that, guess what? Curry is racist. Curry is racist. She says it is cultural misappropriation. She said that all of these dishes that we ignorant Westerners think are curry are actually lots and lots of different things.
Yes.
And basically we should learn all the different names for all these millions of different dishes and we should not use the term curry.
Right.
Now, what I think she needs to do is to go into all the Indian and Bangladeshi restaurants that I know,
Yeah.
hundreds of them,
Yeah.
and tell them.
Yeah.
Because on their menus, it
They
just
say
says curry.
Right.
Yeah.
It does.
So
Obviously.
she's not on the same page
And
as
you
the
know,
people that she's
apparently-
trying to protect.
And
here.
also, apparently, the word was invented, we think, in Portugal. Because it was when the Portuguese went to Goa, which was the first part of the sort of exploration of the planet. They discovered Indian food, and they think that it was curry or something like that, was a herb or something that they used or something that they called it. So it became curry. And then over time, when Britain was involved with India, it became a curry
But
as
the
well.
more serious point, of course, is when are we going to stop not allowing, but listening
What are
to
you going to call
these people?
curry powder?
Well, but it's yet another thing that's racist. You know, I think I heard recently the weather's racist. Apparently, it's
The
countryside trees.
The countryside is
the
racist.
definitely-
And basically,
definitely
everything's
so,
racist
yeah.
that we, you know, in this
Yeah.
country and so on of a particular persuasion, are responsible for.
Yeah.
Milk's racist. Water's been racist this year as well.
Yeah,
I
everything's
think.
racist.
Everything's
Yeah.
racist.
Everything's racist.
Yeah.
Well, I
We're
mean,
gonna
the great
stop
thing
these
about, of course, the
nonsense.
Americans, when I first went to America back in the sort of early 80s, Indian food was something that only kind of, enlightened New York Times readers ate. And they used to have a street in Manhattan called 6th Street down in East Village. And it was all curry houses, and it's mostly owned by the same family. you know.
Yeah.
But the only people that went there were these kind of very, highfalutin metropolitan elite types who goes, this Indian food's fantastic, man, it's just beautiful. And you'd go, It's a curry. We usually have 10 pints and, get in there. And in fact, Rowan Atkinson went and did a show on Broadway, which I went to see, and he did this sketch where he was the Indian waiter to a whole... There was nobody at the table, but he was imagining a table of drunk blokes who were all calling him names and ordering, another pint with the chapatis and all this kind of stuff, And they all thought it was horribly racist. They didn't get the fact that he was making fun of the diners.
Yeah, of course.
And they thought because he was doing this sort of fake Indian accent that he was the one
being the racist.
That was being racist.
Yeah,
and the Americans just have never really got Indian food. It's a bit better now, but when back then,
the Americans don't get most things, though, do they? They don't really have a sense of humour, do they?
Some of them are not too bright, are they?
So look, if you don't want to be labelled racist, do not order curry the next time you go to an Indian restaurant. In fact, maybe don't go to an Indian restaurant.
Just don't go to one. In fact, you should not go to Indian restaurants because that's obviously
or French,
misappropriating
or Spanish.
I presume Chinese food can't be called Chinese either, can it?
No, I guess that would be too kind of all-encompassing, wouldn't it?
Yeah. She's a bit of a vindaloo.
Because it might be Hong Kong rather than Chinese.
I see what you did there.
I think it's clever.
That was good.
Tabloid. You missed it.
Did you just come up with
it?
Say again.
A bit of a vindaloony.
Oh yeah, nice.
That's good, isn't it?
Is that going in your column?
She should pop her dom off.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
here a week,
she's
folks.
here a week.
Someone take her out of here, will you?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, same old samosas. Anyway, so listen, we got a pretty good haul so far.
Oh, I think so.
I have to say, my final one is everybody's favourite actress, Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, yes.
I love Jennifer. No, I don't.
No, you don't.
I want her as my friend.
I want to love Jennifer Aniston because I think she's quite funny. She's one of the few people in Friends that actually
great in We're the Millers too.
Has done some quite good funny films since leaving Friends. Because most of the people in Friends haven't done anything.
No, that's
they?
true.
That's why
I don't
went
understand.
back and did the reunion.
Well, yeah, and the reunion, which I didn't bother watching. I wasn't particularly a big fan of Friends. I just quite like the look of Jennifer Aniston.
I've never watched
Really?
Friends in my life.
Really?
No,
You
but
should.
I did sit on a very long plane journey with Jennifer Aniston.
Did you?
It was a very long
Was
plane
it?
journey.
How did she seem?
She didn't like the press very much.
There's a funny thing.
No,
most of them don't.
No, funny that. She
Because
was
they
really...
report what she actually says.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Also, they hate having to mingle with the likes of you.
Oh, I know.
don't
Yeah,
they?
it was like why are you so horrible to me? And by the end of it, it's like
I can tell you why.
I'm going to tell you why,
Because
but
you're a muppet, that's why.
That wasn't quite the word I used.
Well,
It might be slightly shorter.
She gave an interview with a magazine in America called In Style, which I'm familiar with, and she said this. I've just lost a few people in my weekly routine who have refused or did not disclose whether or not they had been vaccinated, and it was unfortunate. I.e., she's basically cut a load of people out of her life because they haven't been vaccinated.
Yeah.
Now, I nominated somebody for the Daily Telegraph a few weeks back who wrote a column about this, saying that she wouldn't invite anyone around to her house for dinner parties if they hadn't been vaccinated. And you just think, what's wrong with people? And she goes, I feel it's your moral and professional obligation to inform, since we're not all potted up and being tested every single day. It's tricky because everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but a lot of opinions don't feel based in anything except fear or propaganda. What, like hers?
Well,
so she's frightened of people who haven't had a vaccination, even though she's had one. What's the point of being vaccinated?
Exactly. The irony is the whole point of vaccination, which may have escaped her, is that she and her other vaccinated friends are protected.
Yeah.
So and it's odd, isn't it? Because the woke lot that kind of advance these arguments and say these stupid things are also the ones that are supposed to be liberal and inclusive.
Yes, but they're not.
And actually, everything
Hashtag
they do,
be kind.
everything they do is the opposite of
Yeah.
that. The opposite.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing with this story is like, she said, this is opinions that are based in fear. Now, if you're a proper friend and you want to help someone cope with an issue they're struggling with, no matter what it is, you sit and talk to them. You don't cut them out of your life.
But
True
what
friends
happens-
are with you through no matter
But
what.
what happens to the friends of hers that can't have the vaccine? Perhaps because they've got some other ailment or
Well, yeah,
disease. Where
quite.
she cuts them out
She
of the
cuts
life.
Well,
them out
maybe
of
she
her
doesn't
life.
really have friends. I mean, because some of these people...
Well, that
It's really
would be
ironic.
Which is ironic
understandable.
given that she was in a show
It's
called
ironic.
Friends.
And actually,
But,
the theme tune, is it the Lightning Seas? Sing the theme
I'm
tune.
not
whereas-
sure.
Well, actually, one of the first
I'll
lines
be
that's
there for
repeated
you.
is "I'll be there
I'll
for
be
you."
there for you.
As long as
Well,
you've been vaccinated.
not in this case.
Yeah,
No.
They'll have to rewrite it.
It's
Yeah, they didn't think of that.
It's incredibly.
Maybe they should call it Friends Who've Been Vaccinated.
It's just incredibly judgmental, isn't it? And I just think
But it's pathetic. I mean, we get people like this in this country because it's now
Yeah.
become this political football, right? Now, if you don't want to take the vaccine, you're some kind of crazed anti-vaxxer, Brexiteer, probably racist, one of those people that doesn't
Small-minded
like...
little Englander.
Yeah, just a little Englander who likes to wave a flag around, you're just a horrible person. And, there's lots of people who can't take a vaccination. I was
course.
talking to somebody the other day and she suffers from a particularly unusual ailment, which means that she can't actually take something that's in this particular. She said, it's not that I don't take any vaccination. She said, I just can't take this one because it's got something in it, which would quite likely make me very ill.
Jennifer Aniston doesn't care.
No, and then now they want to vaccinate all the children.
Not a friend.
It's not.
Now we've got 9 nominees, as you know. Yes, we have. Are you feeling all right?
It's been a long day.
It's been a long show for a few weeks.
Every time she comes in here, she's been up for about 48 hours. You know. I think it's the barbiturates.
Getting around with Jennifer Aniston.
That's what it is. Yeah. Now, we need to get them down to 1 each, right? So we've got to whiz through because we're running slightly late on account of all the fun we've been having, which is no bad thing.
No,
so,
fine.
Russell, why don't you pick the one of Dawn's 3?
Oh my God.
So Geronimo?
Geronimo.
Shocking.
The UN and the Met Office.
Geronimo, just for pure comedy value.
Yeah.
Geronimo, absolutely, that's good. So, do you want to pick one of mine?
God, what were they?
They were the Border Force.
Oh yeah.
Jonathan Brearley.
Yeah.
From Off-Gen, and Jennifer Aniston.
Ooh, tempted as I am to do Jennifer. I'm going to do the Border Force because the whole
ridiculous, isn't it?
Keeping the dinghies is ludicrous.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm going to do Border Force definitely.
Border Force is a good call.
Okay, mine.
So yours, Russell.
Lionel Messi.
Yeah.
Alok Sharma.
Yes.
And Shaheti Bansal.
Well, you know, I think we have to do Alok Sharma because we haven't done the UN panel for climate change or the UN as one of the top 3. So I'm going to go Alok Sharma. Because that gets us in with the climate change 3.
Yeah.
Now, I need to carry one over from last week. I think the BBC can go in there, can't they?
Every week.
The BBC,
Every
again.
week.
Yeah.
This week they've said that they're going to basically operate in a new building that costs them £1 billion with hardly anybody in it because they don't need to come in from working from home.
Oh, that's lovely.
So they built this huge, big, headquarters,
Building,
and now nobody's going to be using it.
Yeah. It's reassuring, isn't it?
So we'll put the BBC
Well, we
back
can
in
get
there.
the anti-vaxxers to go and storm it.
Yeah, no, they always go the wrong address, though. Yeah, they got the wrong information.
God.
Listen, we're here to see the BBC. Oh, they moved some years ago.
Left 10 years ago.
They're over there now.
Yeah. We could let you in to see old Frank Lampard's wife, though. She's doing a
it
show.
was GMB,
There was
loose women over there this morning.
Right,
Yeah.
there you go. Right, so the 3, the alpaca, Geronimo. Can't believe he's on Plank of the Week. It's a shocking state of affairs. The Border Force and Alok Sharma. What do you think?
Well, you know what vote I'm going with.
I think we might be attacked if we make him the Plank of the Week.
Oh, no, come on. What about, we can make him the woolly jumper of the week.
I think...
Mike, I've got to go with my conscience.
Listen,
my
I think it would be a mistake to make the
encouraging us to do it.
This is your show.
The soon-to-be executed alpaca.
He might not.
He might be dead by the time this comes out. What, have you no shame? Somebody might put a bullet in his head.
But you want us to have integrity, Mike, don't you?
I do want us to have integrity, but I think you should also have think about taste and tone.
For the first time ever, Dawn.
Taste and tone. I think we make it the Border Force and we give him number 2.
Border Force is worthy, I think.
I think so. I mean, they are pretty.
Well, no, you did give 3 specific reasons, not just one. 3 reasons why they should be nominated.
I mean, I don't want to give anyone an excuse to, boycott the show.
But I think they should have won it on the dinghies alone. Let alone
I think so.
It's called having a sense of humour. I love the alpaca. I think it's gorgeous.
I know. Well, that's why he's number 2, Plank. He might be dead. How will you feel if you wake up in the morning and he's dead?
And it's really not Geronimo. It's the people surrounding Geronimo.
No, it's the hype in the media
It's
and
the
the
hype in the media.
hypocrisy
Says a woman that works in the media.
So he's Deputy Plank.
Yeah, I know.
I know you're disappointed.
I'm feeling a bit sad for Geronimo.
Yeah, so now you see...
Maybe should I adopt him?
You will when there's animal rights activists outside your flat tomorrow morning.
TB into East London. They've only just got rid of it.
I think we've still got it, to be honest with you.
For heaven's sake. Right. Anyway, sorry, Geronimo. You're not winning Plank of the Week. That would be cruel, in my view. However, I think with the help of Dawn and Russell, we've come to an amicable conclusion, which is that the Border Force are the Planks of the Week. So well done to Priti Patel, well done to the Home Office, and well done to all those bozos who have been storing the boats for £500,000 to our purposes in the taxpayer department. We'll see you next week.